Well, it's been a while, but I'm really excited about this video because I've pulled a ton of clips for us to look at together. I want to evaluate the U.S. Women's National Team forward pool. There's only 5, maybe 6 spots for the Olympics, so it's extremely competitive right now. I want to do this by looking at the different skills we would expect from a forward, ranking players 1 through 3 in each of those categories. I've got a lot of clips from SheBelieves, a little bit from NWSL, a little bit from a Gold Cup, so we're considering everything that's happened recently. And then after that, want to look at players a little bit more holistically, think about who's clear cut for that roster and who might be on the bubble. Let's get into it. The first skill I want to talk about is defensive play, and in the number 3 spot, I've put Lynn Williams. This is someone I'd normally put as a clear number 1, but she was injured for the SheBelieves tournament, and she hasn't played very much of an NWSL season. So until we see more of her and she can prove that she can do this consistently this year, I think she has to be in this spot. She's number 6 in blue right here, and what I really like about this play is how she's not going to concede her attacking position until she sees the need to. So there, she's still in a good spot, watching the play, and right here she realizes something could be on. Great speed to track back, and just making sure she's available to help her teammate if needed. And that's exactly the kind of play she's known for. She's here in white, number 10. This is the NWSL Championship. Same thing, just carefully watching, making sure she's in a good spot. But once that bounces, she's on it, just making sure the opposition can't pick that ball up. So if we can get some more film of her this year before the Olympics, I really think she could move up this ranking. But right now I have her pretty comfortably at 3. In the number 2 spot, I have Jaden Shaw. Here she is, number 8 in blue, and she is almost the furthest person up the pitch. Alex Morgan is only a little bit further ahead than her. And now this is a very long ball that she's being asked to track back for. Still off screen, but I think we both know she's running hard. And then that's her popping in from behind, wins that ball, distributes it out to a teammate. This is a player I think benefits a lot from her speed, but she's just very smart defensively, and I think she uses the press in a very defensive manner as well. So just one clip for now, but we're going to come back to this for her. And in the number 1 spot, I have Trinity Rodman. She's playing right wing over here, but for now I actually want us to focus on Jenna Niswanger, who's playing left back. This is a clip where US got scored on extremely soon into the game by Japan, and I want to look at why that happened. So the US is asking Niswanger to play in a very attacking capacity, to get up the field aggressively, and right here, when she sees that there's an opportunity to support her teammate on the attack, she runs up. Problem is, they lose possession. There's a big open space behind her. This is just going to happen based on this game plan, but it's a little bit unlucky. We see a little bit of miscommunication between Davidson and Niswanger as they figure out who should be recovering back into what space. You know, neither of them really makes the ideal run there. I get a little bit confused. That goes in. Why do I want to look at that? Well, this looks almost identical 4 minutes later. Trinity Rodman is actually over here now. She's moved to the left wing. Swanson's over here instead. And I want to see how she recognizes the same thing happening and how she adapts to make that happen. So right there, it's that little pause. She makes no movement here because she recognizes Niswanger is up and out of position again and is looking to see, okay, hold on, what should I be doing to cover for this player if needed? Starts tracking back. And that ball's not even an option because she's close enough. And look at this little high five from Niswanger, says thank you. So I thought that was really cool. And there's just so many good clips of her. She was a clear number 1 for me. Here she is, 22, and this is just going to be really nice tracking of this play. Doesn't concede her position. Doesn't concede her position until she sees that something might be on, and then turns on the jets, stops at. Down here now, and this one's going to look really similar. Turns on the jets when she sees there could be an option. I really like how she fights for that inside lane there. Really physical to make sure she doesn't concede anything. I think that's great. And then this one, she's over here, and I just love how she gets on this loose ball, gets her body in the way, and really fights to take it as far up the pitch as she can. I just think she looked great defensively at the SheBelieves. I really think there's been a lot of improvement from the Gold Cup, which is impressive because it's been a short time span between these tournaments, but she's looked fantastic. Absolutely clear #1 for me right now. Next skill I want to look at is applying pressure, which compared to what we just saw is much more proactive. How can you disrupt the opposition, win the ball back? #3 for me on this list is Alex Morgan. This is something I feel like she's been very strong at for forever. She's up top here, and I think she's great at this because she really understands how to work with her teammates. Her positioning is based off what her teammates are doing. And then this time up here, same thing, movement based on what Shaw's doing, reading the opposition. She can be really effective when she's able to work with teammates to create disruption. #2 on the list, I have Trinity Rodman. Here she is initiating the press, and she brings such an intensity to the press. Really committed there, just a willing and able runner, reacting nicely, keeping herself available. This time she's off the pitch, waiting for the referee to release her back on, but she's just paying attention nicely, staying ready, gets a signal to go back on, and is able to intercept that, just catches him off guard. So she has enough speed and intelligence to impact the play on her own. In the first spot, I have Jaden Shaw, and it's because of the variety of different ways she's able to be impactful on the press. So here she is, she's going to be closing down space from behind, and she just forces this midfielder into a kind of hurried pass that's not the best. That's the kind of play Jaden Shaw is going to make all game, really early into this game, sets the tone nicely. She's pressing off the goalkeeper's release, and just so much hustle there. Really working with her teammates. That's a nice win. Now this one, I really like this example because I think it shows how she really integrates her defensive play with her press. It's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. She is showing so much space between herself and this player, and you would think that this is a fantastic passing option, but it's deceptive. She gets in there really fast, and she does a nice job to close down this area and prevent a pass. And then she just goes right back to what she was doing, showing a lot of space again, but the player doesn't want to take it because she knows Shaw could close it down. And it's that combination of play tracking really, really fast and applying pressure that helps Shaw be so effective here. Same thing again, going to come into the sideline, just enough pressure, forces a turnover. And she can do it on her own too. Almost a chance just off of that. So she's very effective. To me, it's a combination of effort, speed, intensity, intelligence. It's just the total package when it comes to pressure. Next skill I want to take a look at is playing with your back to goal, and that's because if the U.S. wants to play more possession football, this is a really important skill. I know we didn't get to see a lot of her at the SheBelieves Cup, but I put Katarina Marcario #3 on this list, and I think it's because we saw just enough of her to tell that this is a real highlight to her game. So late in the game, they're trying to kill time. She's over here, and we can see she just gets low, takes control of that ball, really keeps it away from her body. Just great technique there to keep that, hold it up for a while. Here she is, doesn't have any pressure on her, so it's a much easier situation, but you can really see she's got a great build, right? Very strong, low center of gravity, turns quickly. I think she's going to have a lot to offer in this area. Then this clip is from one of her club games recently. This is her here, and I think her movement inside when the cross comes is really intelligent. It's not quite back to goal, but this is a sneaky little one. I think it's really high skill. Just helps generate an awesome quality chance for her teammate. Really excited to see more of her. Next on this list, I have Mallory Swanson, and that's because she has this nifty ability to turn on the ball. Here she is, waiting to receive, and it's such a great touch to put it in a position where she can run onto it. Some nice dribbling afterwards. And this one's very similar. Nice touch there, sends it out into space. What a great pass. And this one I pulled, it's from club play, but I pulled it because I think it shows her ability to read the situation and respond accordingly. Here she feels the pressure and says, okay, not a good time to turn. Just dribble it a bit more, maintain possession. This is definitely a strength to her game, and I think an area where she can really contribute and help the team. Number one spot I had to give to Jaden Shaw, and it's because she's a strong physical player, and I think it just means there's more she can do with her back turned. This is her over here, and I think she does a really nice job at applying a little bit of deception here. Makes it look like she's going upfield. Nope, comes back, plays a pass out. On this one, she's going to be in open space, so it's a little bit different, but she recognizes that she's got time, nice and slow, and plays it out into open space. On this one, I really like how she responds to what the defenders are doing. So she's going to have a little fake, nope, nope, and then she actually comes back for real this time, receives. And I think this is important that she actually wins the foul, because this is not easy to do, right? If you're going to play with your back turned, you're always going to have a lot of pressure from behind. And we saw Swanson have to escape out of that. But if you can actually get yourself low and hold up the ball, you're going to be offering your team something entirely different. She does a really good job here to get the foul, because if you fall sideways and fall defensively, you're never going to get that foul. Yet you have to come forwards and you have to see that there was clear push and extension to bowl you over. So I really like what she does here. You can see she almost looks right. She's going to fall this way. Does a nice job to just get herself set and fall forwards. And it's not easy to do. Alex Morgan is going to come shooting out here, same contact, but goes down sideways, doesn't get that foul. I think that's an incredible level of maturity to demonstrate at her age, to understand how to get that call. And she's just so fantastic with her back turned, on the half turn, offers a team so many different options. Okay, let's get into the skills that are more the bread and butter for a forward: passing. Number 3, I have Jaden Shaw. Here she is with the ball, and I think she just offers a lot of nice different types of balls. Left footer in the air. This one, she's going to help out on the throw, and the ball that comes to her is going to be very bouncy and difficult to control, but I think she takes a really nice touch on it to make it easier for a teammate. There, just traps it, sends it off very cleanly. This one, I love how she's going to call for the ball knowing she can help a teammate out. Same thing, traps it, makes it a lot easier, and helps Sophia Smith score on that one. Really great passer, has a lot of variety to the passes that she's able to play, and a clear strength for her game. Second on this list, I have Mallory Swanson, and it's because she's able to play a lot of different types of passes and apply a lot of texture to the ball. This is her over here. She's going to make a really lovely turn, one of the skills we talked about earlier. Sends that off. Really great through ball. Here she is, just staying available. Some patience. Great through ball again. Really good timing there. Helps her team generate a chance. Now this one, when she releases it, the ball's going to be bouncing. Not easy at all. Does that with the left foot. Nice to see the ball curl inwards like that. And then this one she's going to do with the outside of her right foot. A lot of different texture and variation there. Left foot, right foot. It's really great to see. This is a left-footed cross. Some lovely swirl and dip to that. And that's an inviting ball to get on the end of. So as a player, you get really excited when you see with the ball, just begging her to pass to you. Who's the best passer on this team right now? Well, I think that's Trinity Rodman. She's looked so good at the SheBelieves Cup. She's looked fantastic in the NWSL. And that is not an easy pass to play there. The way it curls inwards really allows Alex time to get on the ball. She's out in space here. And I think this is a really great understanding that she has time and space and uses that to play a very accurate switch ball. This one, she's out here, brings a little bit of deception into it. Looks like she's going to come close. Instead, she lays it off. And right now, she's just staying ready on the right wing, staying available. A little bit more deception here. Looks like she's going to dribble. Sends it off to her in at the last minute. Really helping her team generate chances. This one, she's receiving the ball. Just a little patience. Hits it with the outside of the right foot. Lets a teammate get a good cross off. And another outside of football here. This one into space. Fantastic goal. And the thing is, she's been doing this for her club as well. She's just so fantastic at setting her teammates up. This one, she's patient, a little bit of the set. Could have been a great cross, but never mind. She stays ready. And this ball happens because of this player right here. She's thinking, Trinity Rodman loves to go one-on-one. She's a fantastic dribbler. I don't want to get beat this way. I'm going to push her to the outside instead. And this to me is why she's the best right now, is because she's figured out that people are going to defend her like this, and she can exploit that by doing something they're not expecting. So she's got so much time and space to get a fantastic cross in here, and it is just absolutely inch perfect. Absolutely perfect ball. She's just able to play the ball with every single part of her foot, both feet, and she just looks so on form right now. Final skill I want to talk about is where you make your money as a forward, shooting. Number 3, I have Mallory Swanson. I think she does a really nice job at creating high percentage opportunities for herself. So she could shoot first time here, but works her way into a better position. And she does this a lot. This is her with her back turned. Again, works herself into a better position, gets a shot off. Robbed there, but you can see how she does it. She's on the outside this time for her club. Controls that bouncing ball. Left-footed shot. She's not a real technique-driven shooter, but she really does a good job to create the kind of opportunities that she knows she can finish off of. Number 2 spot, I have Sophia Smith, because she's able to generate a lot of power and able to shoot pretty equally with the left and the right foot. There she is, going to shoot off the left into the corner. Very nice control. This one is going to look a lot easier, but it's never easy. Nice right-footed shot. Great tracking at the play here. It's going to be another very well-placed, very powerful right-footed shot. And then these clips are from club. You're going to see how she's really able to generate a chance for herself. Nice play to set that out. Brilliant power on that. And then this play, she's going to work her way all around here and just does a complete rotation of her hips to release that with her left foot. It's a lot of power, it's great technique, and it's left and right-footed depending on where she is on the pitch, which is really what you want to see. I had a really hard time deciding who should be in first place, who should be in second place, but ultimately I had Jaden Shaw in first place because I think she just offers a lot more variety. Here she is, staying ready to receive the ball. Only takes one touch to control it. Right-footed shot right into the corner. The goalie was screened. It's not super easy for her, but I just love this technique when players are able to get the ball to bounce before, because it makes it so difficult to react. Really great placement, good bounce, lovely goal. This is a really smart goal. She's going to score a lot of really intelligent goals because she's an intelligent player. Her hand fouled. Quick restart. And as a player, your goalie is typically here. You're always coached to go far post, but she recognizes the situation, slots that away with her right foot. Talked about how fantastic she is on the press. Here she is, just being consistent. Slots that one away with her left. And then this, for me, is the real differentiator. This is Shaw out here. And this is just a stunning technique-driven volley. Absolutely fantastic into the top corner. And you're not going to see Sophia Smith do that. That play alone is what makes Jaden Shaw clear number 1 shooter for me. We've looked at a lot of different skills for forwards, so now let's start thinking about where they may rank for selection on an Olympic roster. First player I have on this list is Jaden Shaw. Yes, she shows up in a lot of different categories, but I think the biggest thing for her that pushes her into this number 1 spot is positional flexibility. She can play in different forward roles, she can play in different midfield roles, and when you're really fighting for a limited number of spots, that kind of flexibility offers your team so much. As fantastic as it is that she shows up as a top 3 player in a lot of these different categories, I do think she has a lot of growing to do. The 2 issues I see with her game: she's not very patient, she doesn't really like to hold up play, and then because of that, she creates a lot of turnovers where she's just passing the ball for the sake of passing it. In this clip, she's out wide, And she just doesn't really seem to consider the context of the situation. That's Emily Fox, the right back, that she sends up chasing a ball that is never going to be winnable. Here she is out wide left. Looks up before passing, but doesn't really process the information and turns it over. And then this is at the club level. Here she is on the ball. And that cross isn't really to anybody specifically. So I think we can see a pattern of her throwing the ball away when she's rushing and hurrying. The other thing is she's looked significantly better at the international level than at club level. So I think that tells us a little bit of something about her maturity level and ability to lead a team out of a tough situation. It's just not there yet. Second on my list, I have Mallory Swanson. Could easily be higher up, but we just have not seen enough of her lately. She was in the SheBelieves, but not the Gold Cup. And then, of course, there's always just going to be a little bit of lingering injury risk with a player that's returned to play so recently. Main things I would like to see her improve in her game are her play on the press, play on defense. I just don't think she has as much to offer there as some of the other forwards. In this clip, she's over here pressing. Yeah, she is going to be covering a lot of ground, but there's just no real hustle or intensity to this press. She doesn't look like she wants the ball. She doesn't look like she wants to be disruptive. And compared to what we saw earlier from players like Trinity Rodman and Jaden Shaw, you can just tell she's not as effective on the press. The other thing that surprised me sometimes was, as good of a passer as she is, she also has a tendency to rush a little bit. I think this one she had some time and some space and better options, but turns that over. Overall, really strong player. She's more of a finesse player. She's never going to be that super strong, powerful player. But I think the biggest question around her right now is more injury than anything else. Third on my list, I have Trinity Rodman. I think one of the things holding her back right now is she doesn't offer as much positional flexibility as some other players. She looks really, really fantastic to me on the right wing. I think she's a clear-cut starting right winger. I'm just not so sure about the left wing for her. What I'd most like to see her improve on is her heading in the box. She's a big, strong, physical player. She's able to win space for herself, able to get up in the air and win balls, but she's just not capitalizing on some of these aerial balls. So in this situation, she's got time, she's got so much space, she's going to have a lot of empty net, but this doesn't go in because of the angle, the path she takes to the ball, path she puts on the header. I really think this is a great opportunity for her because having that big physical aerial threat in the box is just something the US are missing right now. The other issue I've had with her game previously is I think she'd force one-on-ones where they weren't necessary, and if she didn't win a one-on-one, it would really seem to mess with her mentally, and it would make her almost continue doing a one-on-one when it was a bad decision just because she wanted to prove a point that she can do it. Here she goes for a nutmeg, doesn't really think about what's going to happen after that, and loses the ball because of it. But that clip was from Gold Cup, and I think we've seen so much improvement since the start of the NWSL season and through SheBelieves. She's going to be out wide again, goes for a flick over her head, doesn't win it, but instead of displaying any sort of frustration, claps her hands, moves on. I really think the biggest improvement in her game over the last month or so has been her understanding that if she does not take so many one-on-ones when people are expecting it, she's going to be able to float in absolutely beautiful balls for her teammates. I really think this upwards trajectory of her is going to continue, and I'm so excited to see what she's going to bring to this team. Next on the list, I have Sophia Smith, and she could be so much higher up if she could just offer more consistency. Such a baffling player because sometimes she goes into a game, looks absolutely lethargic for 60 minutes, and then has a fantastic span of 20 minutes. It's just so confusing, and if she can just start offering consistency at the club level, at the international level, she could easily be one of the best players on this team. For as good as she is, sometimes her shots are just not there. This one, she doesn't even look. It's completely off target. This one, she's in a great spot, gets way too excited, hoofs that way over the net. So I just need to see more consistency with the shooting because she's so fabulously talented and has such great technique, but half the time it feels like they're not even close and it's just a complete wasted ball. This one, she's on the outside, gonna pick up a nice ball here, not the best pass, but fights for that, picks it up. Great position to shoot here, but passes that off on the outside of a foot. and it's just not a good pass. We saw Rodman do the same thing earlier, pass it off to Smith. Nice, easy goal. Smith does not catch this nicely on her right foot, and you can see by the time it gets into Swanson, it is bouncing. It's not easy to control. It's not far out enough ahead of her. It's just not a good ball. She's going to win this one, which is great, but then looking for Swanson and just absolutely beams it. Nowhere close to her, no chance for her to get on that. And then defensively and on the press, I just don't think she's doing that much. She looks uncoordinated, she looks confused, and it's just not really striking any kind of fear into the opposition. It doesn't look like she's forcing anybody to make any kind of bad decision. A few weeks ago, one of you commented on another video to describe Sophia Smith as an enigma. I think that is the perfect way to put this. She has all the talent and the ability to be the #1 forward on this team, but just sometimes looks lost and low effort. If she can just start playing more consistently, turning up day to day, offering the same sort of things, she absolutely has the power to disrupt this game at the international stage. The last 3 spots on this roster are all a tie for 5th, and this is where things get really competitive. You know, taking 5 or 6 forwards could be impacted by if the midfielder like Rose Lavelle is healthy or not. So I really have no idea where this is going to go. Alex Morgan, for me, if you'd asked me a month ago, I would have said clear-cut selection for the Olympics. She did not have a great showing at the SheBelieves Cup, and now I'm not sure. Alex Morgan's normally so good with her back to goal. She's a player that I would typically put #1 on that list, but she just has not looked like herself at the club level. And during the SheBelieves Cup, she looked way, way better to me during the Gold Cup, but it's just been a drop-off recently. Here she is, and usually these are really easy for her, but she just turns that over. And here she is. Nice vintage Alex Morgan there, a little nifty, high-skilled touch. Gets her head up for the pass, but completely mishits that and turns it over. And so it's really the decision-making for me. She's over here, and it's like she's understanding what's happening and what she needs to do and just isn't making the right decision or executing well. That ball, she just lets it get too far out ahead of her when she's dribbling, right? That's nice and close, and then that one just too far. And she hasn't looked great at the club level either. This is going to be a cross, and it's just going to no one in particular. I know it's her weaker right foot, but don't cross it then if you don't feel like you can confidently put it where you need to put it. She's not looked fantastic at the NWSL level either, so it's a big question mark for me right now. I think she has a lot to offer. I think she's a highly intelligent player, but I think she can really only play one position, and if she's not able to do that as you're expecting her to do that, it becomes a little harder to pick her. Another player I have tied for 5th place is Katarina Marcario. We haven't seen very much of her in the SheBelieves, and Emma Hayes has been ramping her up at Chelsea slowly. This is because she's been injured. She's had a 2-year recovery period. Some injury risk there still for sure, but I have a feeling being with Emma Hayes day in, day out at Chelsea is really going to help her case for selection. And the last player I have fighting for this 5th, maybe 6th spot is Lynn Williams. She's been injured since the Gold Cup, but made a return to play this weekend. Gotham looked a lot better with her back. Beyond the injury risk, I think there's also a question of compatibility. She's a much more transitional player, and I don't know if that's going to be what Emma Hayes is looking for. She does have a ton to offer on defense, though, so another big question there for me. A lot of questions all around. I'd love to hear your thoughts, know who you think should be higher up on this list, who's missing from the list completely. It's not going to be long until we see that roster come out. A lot of big questions to be answered. All right, thanks for watching. See you soon.